Hi VC, yeah, it's back again. Back again with my second Gimme 10 from 1991. Been a while since I did this. What I'm going to do is just whiz through 10 albums that I bought in 91. Mixed quality actually, to be honest. But I thought I'd start off with the record I forgot about from 1990. Completely, I don't know why I missed this one because it's one of my favourite bands, and it is Crazy Head. Some Kind of Fever. This is Crazy Head's second album, the last one they released before they split in the early 90s. There's Pork Beast, Anderson, I think it's Vom in the drums, can't remember the name of the other two, but it's nowhere near as good as their earlier stuff, but it's still a good listen. It's more of the same sort of scuzzy rock, but it seems a little bit more produced than the other album. The other album was pretty raw and lo-fi. Lo-fi? Yeah, it was quite. Well, the production was rawer anyway, and this is a little bit more produced, but I still love it. Way past their peak. Commercially, when they actually placed, they didn't get anything top 40, but they managed a couple of singles, I think, in the top 60 or something, and regular visitors to the indie chart top 10. But there we go. So that's just one I missed from 1990. Right, here we go with 1991. Going to start with this one. Probably a couple of lesser known records to start with. La Muerta. Muerta? I guess this is how you pronounce it. This is on Play It Again Sam Records. They're a kind of I'd say it's hard rock with more industrial type vocals, I guess. I guess that would probably be the best way of describing it. I think this was their last album before they split. Might have released one other. But did I say they were from Belgium? Can't remember, but they're from Belgium. And this is actually a really good listen. I really enjoyed listening to this again. Things like Custom Car Competition, The Serial Killer, Wild Fucker, Stoneheart Marie. There's a lot of blues-based hard rock on here with gruff vocals. It's great. Absolutely love it. So there we go. That's the first one. Next up is from a band who was trying to ride the Balearic wave in the early 90s. Apparently they played Glastonbury because I checked them out online, and it's Natural Life. Trying to mix that kind of euphoric rave mentality with more rocky approach. Couple of tracks work, but on the whole it kind of, for me, it descends into a kind of jazzy funk rock more than anything, and it's a little bit I think I picked this up from a charity shop in the early 90s to show you how quickly it went into charity shops. I don't know whether I was lucky or not, but as you can see, they're trying to ride that kind of dancey hippie wave sort of thing. There's a couple of standout tracks. The first track, Heartland, there's a single that was Natural Life, that's alright, but it just does descend into sort of that kind of more jazzy sort of stuff, jazz funky sort of stuff. It's not that I've got anything against jazz. I'm trying to find out about jazz, as people will tell you, and yeah, as you can see from some of my purchases recently, but this doesn't do it for me so much. Band that did do it for me in the late 80s, early 90s was this lot, Babes in Toyland, and this is To Mother. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 track, kind of a mini LP, I suppose, but this is more of the same, caustically delivered. There was not a more caustic front woman than Cat Belland. Absolutely amazing front woman, and especially live, she was like one of the scariest women I've ever seen in my life. There we go. To Mother by the Babes. Next up, we've got a band not known necessarily for their subtlety. This is the Young Gods. This is the only record I've got by them on vinyl. I've got a couple of other things on CD, but Young Gods play Kurt Weill, and it's actually really good. They do quite a good version of Alabama Song. They do Siraba Jenny, Speak Low, September Song. It's a really good listen. It's like they've really tried to mix that industrial rock feel to Kurt Weill songs, and I think this actually comes off pretty well. Wasn't sure about it when I got it back in the early 90s, but listening to it now, it's a completely different experience. I really like this record now. They're better known for their things like L'Eau Rouge and singles like Gasoline Man and stuff like that, which are pretty rocking stuff, but this shows another side to them. Mega t-shirt indie band next. It's Ned's Atomic Dustbin and their debut album Godfather. Named after the Goon Show episode, of course. The band that launched 1,000 Fringes. There we go. Double bass player on here. Some really good tracks on here. Kill Your Television. Just an ultimate indie anthem from, say, 91. Things like Grey Cell Green, Cut Up, Throwing Things, Happy, Until You Find Out. Some really good tracks on here. And this surprised I was surprised this actually goes for not serious money, but it's quite a little bit to buy this. I love it. Erroneously now called Grebo. I don't see why this was called Grebo. Grebo, as you know, I was dead into, and it was only a select few bands at the tail end of the 80s. But now it seems to be a catch-all phrase for a lot of bands who I knew as t-shirt bands. So Carter, Ned's, Sense of Things, Want Stuff, that kind of stuff. Kind of, some of them were sort of around the tail end of Grebo, but they were never part of that. Right, next up, one of my favourite all-time bands, as I was having a conversation with 6-inch Pianist about, The Hypnotics, Soul, Glitter and Sin. Kind of expanding their palette a little bit from just the heads down MC5 boogie that they sort of were champion on their early singles in their first LP, and the Hendrix worship was toned down a bit. Here they're definitely worshipping the Stones. Some of the singles are a bit more funky. So you've got things like Shakedown, which I just think is a stunning single. It was stunning. And you've got things like Soul Accelerator, Coast to Coast was another single, Black River Shuffle. Really, I think the tour they did before they recorded this was with the Black Crowes, and you can hear a Black Crowes influence on this record, definitely. As they sort of changed their sound a little bit, but I still loved them to pieces. Absolutely loved them. There we go. Soul, Glitter and Sin, The Hypnotics. Band that didn't really make it out of there were loads of bands that were caught up in the tail end of that funk metal batch of bands, such as When the Chili Peppers and Faith No More broke big. They dragged a few more bands onto mainstream was this mainstream? Yeah, it's on Epic. Onto mainstream labels, and Mindfunk were one of them. Probably slightly heavier than Chili Peppers. More grungy. You can tell by the style. There's the band. It's more Docs and ripped jeans rather than sneakers and whatever else Chili Peppers were wearing at the time. Or socks. Not much else probably. But yeah, it's a decent enough album. It's quite funky in places. It's heavy in places. Not very original in a sleeve, just a black and white version of the cover. But it's a decent enough record, and I enjoy listening to it occasionally. Right, so there's that. Next up, two goth, well, originally goth bands. One stayed a goth band to the bitter end. And they were both the last vinyl records I bought by both these bands after buying a fair few of their albums, or stuff, bits and pieces anyway. So the first one is Fields and the Nephilim. who were always put down as a cut price Sisters of Mercy, but they were more than that. They really did start to. I mean, by this point, they were definitely prog goth, if ever that genre existed. They were definitely expanding their output. This is a double live album called Earth Inferno, and this has got a lot of their most famous tracks on here, like Moonchild, which actually hit the top 40, unbelievably. Preacher Man, Psychonaut, which is amazing. Dawn Razor, Last Exit for the Lost, really good rock. Just going beyond that arch goth sound. I really like the Nephilim at this point. And then a bit of a come down for the next band. It's The Cult, my favourite band of the 80s. They were my favourite band of the 80s. This is Ceremony, and as you can see from the cover, it's Asprey exploring to the utmost his Native American side. I think there's something about Asprey and whether I think he spent time in Canada and he came into contact with a lot of the native Canadians. Is that what you call them? I don't know. Anyway, the native people of Canada, and it's overblown, it's stodgy, pompous, but I still love it. There's some really good songs on here, like Wild Hearted Sun, I think is great. Earth Mofo is good. Heart of Soul is alright. But it's nowhere near part of their best 80s albums, like Love Electric and Sonic Temple, all brilliant in their own different way. And Dreamtime, for that matter. Maybe I should do a Cult video of all my... because I've got loads of 7-inches and stuff and all kinds of stuff. So maybe I should drag out all my Cult stuff into a one bag. It's an idea for a video. Don't know if anybody would be interested. But yeah, there we go. Ceremony by The Cult. And finally, the final record from 1991 is this one. You can just about see it. It's a band called Birdland, and the album's called Birdland. It's a limited edition white album of this. And as you can see, everything is white, so you can just about see the lettering. You can just about see a picture of Birdland there. And then, if you can read that, then you're a better man than I, because I can't read a word of that. You can just about, if you tilt it into the light, you can just about see the words. But I've never bothered reading it. And it's on, obviously, white vinyl, with no labels on, with no writing on the labels. It's okay, really. To be honest, it was at least a year and a half past when they should have released this. And they, obviously the producer or the record company got at them to try and produce something a bit more commercial, because their early singles just totally rocked. They were rock and roll. I mean, they were rock and roll. And then this is just overproduced, the songwriting's flabby, there's songs that sound like the Wonder Stuff. They've ripped the Wonder Stuff off. They ripped their kind of Bunnyman off. There's another track that the riff is really nagging me where it comes from, but I know it's from somewhere else. So it's just like they've run out of steam at this point, which is a shame, because I reckon if this had been recorded and released a year earlier, it would have been a superb debut album and a lasting legacy. But this isn't, which is a shame. Right, there you go. My second haul of records from 1991. I'm nearly done with the 90s now. What I've got left is a batch of records from 92 to 93. Maybe one that was released that I bought later in 94. Oh, I've just realised. I was just flicking through my 1992-93 records, 94, and right at the back was another one from 91, so you got a bonus. Well, I don't know what I'll put there. Anyway, last one, The Mothers. I've looked for more information on the band online, and there is nothing out there. So from memory, Melody Maker fell in love with a demo of their single called Sponge, and I've got the original 12-inch of that, and it is stunning. It is a real rocking track. But this is another case of record company pressure, getting their hands on a band and just squashing the life out of them. So it's sort of, there are a lot of bands around the late 80s, early 90s, like King Swamp, maybe a lot of some of the old goth bands were trying to find their rock heart, but this is another one. Just, it's okay, but it's nothing special. Even Sponge is bled of nearly all its life, so it's a real shame that this turned out like it did. And we end the note on a down, and the end the video on a downer, which is a bit of a shame. But coming up soon will be Gimme. I'm going to nick Chris's. Is it Chris? Little title for the next one. Gimme Approximately 10 from 92 to 94, and there's some corkers. Oh, there are some absolute corkers, and one or maybe two that nobody's known, nobody knows at all, and some that should be better known. Right, there we go. As you can see, my vinyl wadges coming down. I've got 2 batches here to do. I've just bought some online that I told James about, including some that I'm really excited to get my hands on. And we'll get some more videos going soon. So, thanks everybody for watching. Bit of a long one, this one, heading up towards 17 minutes. So, thanks for watching again. Thanks for the people who, I've got some brand new people who've never watched my videos before, sending me messages. So, thanks to them. Absolutely brilliant, all of you. And I'll see you again soon. Cheers, VC. Bye.